Hello bowling fans, this is Dustin J. Markowitz coming to you taped on location here in the beautiful Riverside Lanes Bowling Center in Laughlin, Nevada, bringing you a special edition of Bowling Evolved. Joining me today is a very special guest. He is the CEO of TVS Television Network, responsible for many sports programs in the past, including LPBT bowling back in the day, the one and only Tom Ficara. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Dustin.
Well, I have to say, we are at the precipice of something truly amazing, Tom. You know, we have recently announced, and if you were under a rock and you didn't go to our website, of course that is bowlingevolved.com, get a chance to take a look at our shameless plug for the day. You will see that the Bowling Evolved 2x4 tournament, that is the Bowling Evolved 2x4 right here at the Riverside Lanes in Laughlin with a $2,000 guaranteed first place check for an $80 entry, will be filmed none other than by the TVS Television Network. And I have to say, Tom, it's truly amazing to see that there is still a company out there that wants to see bowling get publicity.
We've been doing bowling since 1961, and we do as much bowling as we can possibly do because bowling is just so popular with viewers, and maybe not with television executives, but with viewers.
And it's kind of amazing to me, as you well know, obviously, in the industry, it seems like a lot of sponsors, a lot of TV networks have gone away from bowling as new program, different things come available. What is it about bowling in particular that interests the audience?
Sponsors don't go away. Sponsors follow viewers. So you've got to have someone who believes in the product, in this case, bowling. What happens on the networks is bowling is not the sport of choice for network executives. It's golf. So they golf. So they know golf. They put golf on. They can relate to golf. They're not bowlers. But when television first started in the early 1950s, you couldn't put golf on television. You know, cameras were the size of small cars now, and it was a very limited area. And that's actually, people don't know, the way the PBA got started was the beers and the King Louis shirts and all had teams.
Yes.
And they put together the PBA as a television show on ABC. ABC had no money. So they said they wanted programming, so they put this together on ABC, the PBA, and of course they brought in a young fella who had been on the Dumont network doing boxing from St. Nicholas Arena, and his name was Chris Schenkel.
Yeah.
And they brought Chris Schenkel in, and they brought bowling in for a very pragmatic reason. And of course bowling lasted for decades on ABC. So it just depends on the circumstances. But the fact is, if you, what's the old saying? If you build it, they will come.
Yes.
You know, if you put bowling on television, people will watch it, people will enjoy it, people love bowling, people can relate to bowling. And if you put good shows on and people can see them, the advertisers will show up.
Absolutely. At least that's what we're hoping, of course.
Oh, they always do. They always do. And again, we've done bowling through the decades.
Yes.
And we kind of do the rest of the story. You know, whether it was the Brunswick team bowling or the Miller doubles bowling or the WIBC championships or regional PBA or senior PBA or college bowling championships. We've done all of those. The Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour we did for years on TVS with Dwayne Dow.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy. And those are all shows that were well received, well sponsored, and it went into the 90s with the regional sports networks. So we've always done bowling whenever we can, and we're looking forward to this, obviously.
And yeah, I'm thrilled to death, obviously. Bowling Evolved, you know, being a talk show for real bowlers by real bowlers, we try to promote everything we can to that bowling community, which unfortunately has been dwindling in the last several years, especially the last decade. We've seen a lot of loss in league bowlers. However, there still are a lot of recreational and competitive bowlers out there that I think still will boost the sport as long as it's put in front of them. I laughed a little bit because I remember watching Chris Schenkel myself growing up, being a 30-year-old bowler. I've been involved in the industry all my life, and my earliest memories of watching bowling was, of course, watching Chris Schenkel and Bo Burton,
Right.
Dick Weber, even Earl Anthony, you know, when they used to do commentary, Mike Albee. And it was such an institution for me to love bowling because of personalities like that. And I feel that one of the biggest drawbacks, and we've talked about in the show numerous times, is that bowling is harder to relate to audiences now for several reasons, because I think they try to adjust it in a way that traditional bowlers don't necessarily enjoy and newer bowlers don't understand. So I'm hoping that hopefully with this tournament, and of course you are going to be doing several other events, not just the Bowling Evolve tournament, that we're able to reconnect out there. And I have to say, Tom, you know, from my perspective, it's almost like you're a shining light in a dark industry, having the opportunity to do something like this again.
Well, the funny thing is, we've always been bowling fans. We do as much bowling as we can. Our problem has been with the bowling industry. You know, they've really been reluctant to work with us, and it's been odd. It's been an odd couple of years with that. But our goal is to make 150 bowling shows a year.
Oh, wow.
You know, that's our goal, whether it be Make That Spare, jackpot bowling, celebrity bowling, tournaments like yours, the West Coast Senior Tour that we're doing, other tournaments. We love, because bowling is so versatile. You know, we will do a tournament. You know, we were talking earlier about some crazy tournaments that used to go on in the past.
Sure.
Those we love to do.
Yeah, and to me, from the perspective, not just as being in broadcasting for bowling, but as a bowler itself, myself, it's such a refreshing outlook to me, because it's hope in an industry that at times seems to be devoid of hope, obviously. And now, let me ask you a little bit, diving in a little bit further. Now, obviously, for our tournament, we're going to be on several different broadcast, what's the word I'm looking for here? Platforms, thank you.
That's the new word.
Yeah, that's the new word. I just know about bowlingevolve.com and YouTube, because that's where you can find us. By the way, bowlingevolve.com, hey, our YouTube channel. But tell us a little about the platforms that we can expect to see the Bowling Evolve 2x4 on.
Well, we always have run since 1960 on broadcast stations. So we will be on broadcast stations. Cable networks, our chosen network is WGN. Regional sports channels, Root Sports, Comcast, Fox, Regional. We are always putting our programming there. The new thing is interesting, because first of all, you have the internet channels, and we have our own. You know, we have the Tavern Television channel, which just runs blue-collar type sports. And also Roku, Tiki Live, which is our streaming channel, Vimeo, VO, Daily Motion. It's really impossible not to see us if you want to. And that wasn't the case before. Before, it was on from 2 to 3 on Saturday afternoon at this time, and then it was gone. Now it's on all these channels. It's ubiquitous. And people are still watching our Miller doubles tournaments from the 1980s.
Say 30 years later,
Yes,
people are still
they're
watching
still
it.
watching, and a lot of viewers too, not just a few or a few hundred. People watch bowling. They like bowling. They like the competition. There are no names on that. You know, those were really club bowlers, and you know, people you just signed up. Anyone could sign up back then, and but people will. If you put a bowling show on, people will watch it.
Yeah, as you said, if you build it, they will come, and I think that's very exciting. Now, obviously, we don't have any time frame, as the show will be pre-taped. It won't be a live show, so it will be taped and it will be uploaded at a later time. Once we find out who and where it's going to be picked up, obviously through bowlingevolve.com, our Facebook page, and of course, I'm sure on the TVS Facebook page and websites as well, you'll be able to see everywhere this show is going to be broadcast. And I'm very excited. I know you were saying somewhere between 150 and 250,000 was the estimate for the streaming services, if I'm not mistaken. So not including whatever broadcast it does
Right.
pick up. So obviously, I want to throw this out there to our viewers. Remember, the only way this thing works is that the more people that know about bowling on TV, be it streaming, be it broadcast, be it cable, let them know. Share this. Talk about it. We want you to participate because we're trying to be that shining light in the bowling industry again.
Sure.
And I think that's very exciting. And now we were discussing a little bit, we're planning on doing multiple shows here in Laughlin. We're very excited about that. I know my broadcast partner was as well. Unfortunately, Eric, being up in Vegas, wasn't able to make it down here today, but hopefully for the next time. But no, obviously we have a great time doing what's going on. And talk a little bit about what do you foresee in the future? I mean, let's assume this first show does take off. I mean, what's the future like for TVS and bowling in general?
Well, we will always do as much bowling as we can. Like I said, our goal is to shoot 150 events a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of bowling.
Absolutely.
And we used to do things, if you'll remember, Bowling for Dollars, Bowlerama. Okay, these were all very popular shows. We did the seniors, we did the regional stars, we did the LPBT. So we have shot everything from a person off the street who comes to bowl in a bowling alley to guys who are in the PBA Hall of Fame. And we still do with the West Coast Bowlers Tour. That's some very impressive people. When we do our open tournaments with various people, there will be a Team USA member and a WIBC. As I told you before, you get all sorts of a mix of people, and that is something that is very positive with bowling that really can't be duplicated. Very many other sports, one or two maybe, but that's what makes bowling special.
Of course, now with the integration of WIBC, ABC, and YBA now under one banner, USBC, it's more important than ever, I think, to promote the diversity in bowling. Because you're right, I don't think there is much diversity, at least not on the scale bowling is. The famous saying is 8 to 80 are able to bowl, and beyond, obviously. So no, I think this is going to be a very exciting and very. You don't want to use the word grand and these grand words to try to describe it, but there's no other way for me as a bowling broadcaster and obviously a bowling historian, someone that's grew up in the sport, to describe it. I do know we have talked about doing celebrity bowling at some point down here in Laughlin. We want to do multiple shows here in the future, and I have to say, Tom, from the bottom of my heart and all of our watchers, thank you very much for what you're doing for us.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to take us into the end of the interview. Once again, please check out bowlingevolved.com for all the information on the Bowling Evolved 2x4, sponsored by Mongoose Bowling Products and RealBowlersTape.com. Again, $80 entry with $2,000 guaranteed on top. That's a nice little payday for everyone who wants to come down. Of course, we also will have a 5-game non-televised sweeper the day before, with added money in it. And I can tell you right now, the interest has been unbelievable, Tom. I think we're going to have one heck of a show, and hopefully this does start out as the platform for a brand new basis of bowling, not just in Laughlin, Nevada, but hopefully in the United States itself.
We're looking forward to it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for Tom Ficara. I've been Dustin J. Markowitz. Have a great night.